Today in our 2011 Buick Enclave, we will be completing a flat toe setup using Roadmaster's EZ crossbar-style base plate, Roadmaster's Falcon 2 tow bar, Roadmaster's 68-inch single-hook coiled safety cables, Roadmaster's diode 7-wire to 6-wire Flexo-Coil wiring kit, Roadmaster's FuseMaster fuse bypass switch for towed vehicles, Roadmaster's stoplight switch kit for the Buick Enclaves, Roadmaster's BrakeMaster system, this is for RVs with air or air-over hydraulic brakes, and Roadmaster's BrakeMaster custom seat adapter for Buick Enclaves. If your RV doesn't have air brakes and has conventional brakes, you might want to look into SMI's Stay and Play Duo, as that's one of the best systems out there for non-air brakes.
And this is what our Buick Enclave is going to look like when it's all set up and ready to flat tow. The base plate itself is the interface that allows tow bars and safety cables to connect to properly tow your vehicle behind your motorhome. And with everything disconnected, it'll be relatively hidden behind your bumper.
And this is what our base plate's going to look like when it's installed. We've got our fascia off so we can show you the attachment points. There is no welding required to get this base plate installed, however you are going to have to do some drilling into your bumper beam. You'll need to use a 1/2-inch drill bit to drill out holes for the 2 locations here that go up into our bumper beam. You'll also need to drill out 1/2-inch hole here towards the top of your bumper beam going through. And then at the bottom of the base plate, you'll have to drill 1 hole here to complete that attachment point. Additionally, there's 2 bolts that go into factory weld nuts. Unlike many base plates, this one has 2 separate pieces for the passenger and driver side. Your passenger and driver side are going to install the exact same way.
And now you need something to connect your motorhome to your vehicle. We're using the Falcon 2 tow bars to make that connection, as well as safety cables from Roadmaster. One of the reasons we chose the Falcon 2 is because it's a non-binding tow bar. What this means is if you're parked on uneven ground, such as a camping site or in some RV parks, it can be difficult to get your vehicle disconnected from the tow bar because it's in a bind. You press on the button here and that'll help free up the arm, making it easier to disconnect your tow bar from your vehicle. And when not in use, the tow bars can be stored in an upright position. They simply fold up here with this joint. The head of the bolt here will rest inside the opening here, and that'll keep it up out of the way. Depending on your motorhome, you may need a high-low adapter. On our motorhome here, it did sit quite a bit higher than our Enclave, so we did need to get a high-low adapter. The one we have here is about a 4-inch drop, and that'll put us with a nice parallel tow bar between our motorhome and vehicle. You want to be sure that you're towing it as level as possible. The diode wiring kit is going to provide your electrical connection between your motorhome and your vehicle for your lights. It's going to do this via the coiled 7-pin to 6-pin cable that comes with it. It's going to also include the 6-pin connector on your vehicle side, as well as all the wiring and diodes you need to make that connection to the taillights at the back of the vehicle. So as you can see, when we're in our motorhome and we operate our lights, it works both on the motorhome and the vehicle.
Here on our passenger side, we'll take a look at our diode wiring. You're going to receive 4 diodes that come in your kit, 2 for each side. On each side, you're going to tap into the tail lamp and the turn signal brake lamp circuit. For the passenger side in our vehicle, it's going to be the brown and white wire on the vehicle for your tail lights and the green wire for your turn brake signal. On our driver's side, your purple wire is going to be your tail lamp circuit and the yellow wire for your turn brake circuit. We routed our wiring underneath the vehicle, avoiding any moving objects such as your steering and suspension components and anything excessively hot such as your exhaust, and connected it to our 6-pole connector here at the front. This is going to be our interface to allow our motorhome's lighting circuits to connect to our vehicle to provide the signals on the back of our vehicle.
And since our vehicle does require either the battery to be disconnected or a fuse pulled when in flat tow mode, we installed a fuse bypass. This will allow us to press a switch inside the dash to automatically disconnect that fuse. And this will keep our battery from draining when being towed down the road.
This installs into the 50-amp fuse located in the BAT1 location in our fuse box. You'll remove that fuse, plug your 2 wires in. We did have to drill a couple holes in our fuse box cover to get those wires down. They plug in where that fuse was, and that fuse plugs into the port right here.
Included, you'll receive a switch so you can quickly disconnect that fuse. We've located it underneath the dash here, so that way it's hidden and out of the way so you don't even know it's there. Since your Buick Enclave requires either the battery to be disconnected or a fuse pulled, when in tow mode it does not have a brake signal. So we were required to install a secondary brake switch that will provide that signal. Here we have our switch mounted on our brake pedal. It comes with a custom mounting bracket for your Buick Enclave, so that way it'll be in the appropriate position. You just install your switch. There is an adjustment nut that you want to adjust until the switch comes into contact with the brake pedal. When the brake pedal is depressed, it moves away from the switch, causing the circuit to close and sending a brake signal up to the front to our connection point, so that way it'll be illuminated in our motorhome. There's two wires located here on the back. One connects to power, which we just use the same power source for our fuse bypass kit, and the other wire connects to the connection point at the front of the vehicle, which sends the signal up to the motorhome. Our motorhome here has air brakes, which is why we've opted for the BrakeMaster system. If you do not have air brakes on your motorhome, you may want to consider another system, such as SMI Stay and Play Duo. The Roadmaster BrakeMaster braking system will apply the brakes inside your vehicle when you press the brakes in your motorhome. It does this proportionally using the motorhome's air brake system. The air is transferred to our cylinder via the included Quick Connect air line. In the event of a disconnect, there's a breakaway switch also installed, and when the pin gets pulled, the cylinder that's on the vehicle is a reservoir that will exhaust its air to apply the brake on the vehicle to help it come to a safe stop. Here on the motorhome side, you have your other Quick Connect point for your airline, and on each side you also have a small wire that will allow the brake signal in the vehicle to transfer up to a light inside the motorhome. This way you can be sure that the brake pedal is being depressed in your vehicle. As you can see, when I press the brakes, our light will illuminate here, and we now know for sure that the brake pedal back in our vehicle is being depressed right now. To mount the breakaway air reservoir cylinder, it's pretty tight inside your Enclave, so we've mounted it below our headlight here on the passenger side, just in front of our fender liner. We use some self-tapping screws that don't come included with the kit to mount the bands to the frame located here. The hose located here will connect to the port located at the front of the vehicle that connects to your motorhome. The other hose coming out of the longer cylinder here will route inside the vehicle to the connection port on the inside. Here you can see the port mounted at the front of the vehicle. We use two self-tapping screws that don't come with the kit in order to attach it to the bottom of the bumper beam. This is the male fitting. You want to make sure you have the male with the orange sleeve on it for the one to go at the front of the vehicle. The one located inside the vehicle we installed into our kick panel here using self-tapping screws. This is the female port that does not have the orange band on it. All fittings are going to connect using compression fittings located at the back of them. You'll tighten those down using a 1/2" wrench. This is the port where we'll hook up our cylinder. This will simply just plug right into the Quick Connect fitting. You just pull back on it, push it in, and that locks it in. The other end of our cylinder is going to connect to the seat plate adapter that we needed to get this install completed. This is a custom fit seat plate adapter designed for your Enclave, and it comes with everything you need to get it mounted below the seat. There's 2 bolts, 2 nuts, 2 plates that get it clamped onto the seat. This gives us our connection point for our operating cylinder, and we simply slide the pin through to get that mounted in place. The other end of our operating cylinder will connect to our brake pedal. This simply clamps around it and locks in place. And we'll also have a wire that we're going to need to connect to the brake signal on the vehicle, so that way it can send a signal up to our motorhome and illuminate an LED showing us that the brake pedal is being depressed. And on the RV side, our braking system requires a port to be installed to make that connection between the RV and your vehicle. This port was attached to the bottom of our bumper here, just using some self-tapping screws. The location you want to place this may vary depending on your motorhome. The hose at the back will connect into the service air port from your air brake system. That's also going to vary its location depending on your motorhome. We'll also have an indicator light that tells us when our braking system is working installed in the motorhome. There's a wire with a round plug that we'll need to run from the back of our motorhome here up inside the cabin of our motorhome. Here inside the motorhome we have our indicator that tells us when our braking system is operating. We just had to drill a small hole using a 5/16 drill bit, slide it through, connect one end to that port that we showed you at the back of the motorhome and the other end to ground. Now we're all ready to hook it up to our motorhome and begin flat towing it down the road. And that completes our look at a flat tow setup for
for your Buick Enclave.